What if I told you that the very thing that is protecting your salon may actually be pushing guests away? Your cancellation policy, it's a big word thrown around these days. The one that you're promoting on social media in all caps with dollar signs and explanation points might be the exact reason that clients are ghosting you.
Mm.
They're shrinking when they walk back in, or worse, never coming back at all. And so today we're going to dive deep into why your cancellation policy could actually be getting you canceled.
Love this topic. So let's actually dive in first with the word cancellation. It's from the Latin word cancellare, which means to cross out, to make void. And isn't that exactly how it feels? It's like your books are full, your team is ready, and then poof, a no show wipes it all away. And that's truly why we set policies. And the word policy comes from the Greek word polis, meaning city. And so a policy was never meant to be punishment. It was created to keep order so that everyone could thrive, truly,
Mhm.
So but here's where it gets tricky. Sometimes without even meaning to, a cancellation policy can tip too far. And so a loyal guest calls with a genuine emergency, or a new client reads a strict rules list before they've even met you, or a team member enforces the rules in a way that feels cold or robotic. And suddenly, the very thing that's supposed to protect your business starts to push people away.
Lindsay, it got me thinking of that screenshot that you just shared with me. Was it like
Mhm.
it was a nice picture? And
Beautiful.
do you remember what it said?
I
It was
do.
like all in caps locks. Yeah,
Yeah.
tell us what it said.
Actually, I've got it right here. So it
Okay,
was
great.
all in caps and it had a beautiful picture of hair. And that's what actually made me stop. And then, when you start to read what it said on there, it says announcement starting, the date, Tuesday, September 30th. No show appointments will receive a $100 fee. This fee does not go towards your next appointment. It goes to pay for your service providers and their hourly pay, because no one gets to work and doesn't get paid. And it went on and on and on.
Wow, I remember you, I was like, "Oh, goodness, wow." I remember we were thinking about that too, like, man, like, we've stayed at the Ritz before, and, like,
Mhm.
every time we go in there, it's never about the cancellation policy, right? I've never even seen it. Like,
Mhm.
there's more about, like, that hospitality, making us feel warm and welcome. So, it's, like, just interesting if you flip the script for salons, like, why do we think that that's the thing that we have to market to? And I love what you said, Lindsay, about the word policy itself is not made to be a punishment. Like, it's
Mhm.
really just there to protect you because, yes, will there be 1 or 2 or maybe 3, 4, or 5 clients that you need to use the policy on? Absolutely. But just
Mhm.
like the Ritz, it's like it doesn't have to be the forefront of everything. And I think that's the place that we're losing credibility on as salons and salon owner or and as being salon owners is because we're making that the first thing that a guest sees.
That's so true, Jen. And I think a lot of salon owners think if they don't post a strong cancellation policy, that people are going to walk all over them.
Mhm.
But like it's almost like the belief that, like, if they're tough, if they aren't tough, they're going to lose money, they're going to lose respect, they're going to lose time. But here's what actually happens when you put your cancellation policy front and center. The wrong people, the one the ones who, like, are truly abusing your time, they don't even see it. But the right people, your loyal guests, the ones who love you, are the ones who do see it. And when they see it, they feel guilt. They remember that one time life happened, like they had a sick kid, a flat tire, or a family emergency, whatever their reasoning was. It doesn't even matter. But now, instead of walking and shining like they usually would, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see you. They walk in smaller, they dim their light. And here's the truth: guilty clients don't become loyal clients. Guilty clients, they avoid, they cancel more, or, they just simply fade away.
Yeah, that's so true. They just simply
Mhm.
fade away. So when you think about like, here's the real breakdown. Like for a cancellation policy to new guest, truly a harsh cancellation policy screams, this place is risky. Like, I'm gonna need to think about this before I go in there. To
Mhm.
your loyal guests, like Lindsay was saying, it kind of whispers, like, hey, if you mess up, you'll be punished. And then to your team, it signals, hey, we care more about rules than relationships. So I could see like that salon owner posting it, her team being like, ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah, I like it. Give me more of that, right? But like if you think about it, like your real goal is to, create amazing experiences for guests. It's
Mhm.
not punishment. Just a cancellation policy is just there for protection. It
Mhm.
should be a guardrail, not a hammer.
Mm. Jen, that is huge. It should be a guardrail and not a hammer, because here's the truth, like, life is going to happen, and so here's what you need to know: plan for a 5 to 10% cancellation rate. Just have a plan for that. That's normal. That's life, but I think it's also great to know if your cancellations are higher than that, you don't have a policy problem. You have a systems problem, because there's, maybe the guest experience isn't magnetic enough. Maybe you're not planning a big enough future picture for your guests, or maybe your pre-booking process is weak, or maybe it's that you're not calling to confirm appointments, or, sending out texts or emails or whatever your reminder system is. Because you guys, shouting your cancellation policy will not fix those leaks. It's just duct tape over the real issue. And I really think too, one of the best reminders when we're thinking about this is, when somebody on my team comes to me and they're like, "Hey, I've had so many cancellations." The first thing that you need to do as a salon owner is actually look and see how many cancellations they've had. Because if they've had 3 out of 100 clients, they're doing great, because we're planning on 5 to 10%. But if they've had 30 out of 100, okay, let's see what's going on. How can we make this a more magnetic experience? Because it is a systems problem at that point. It's, there's not a desire for those people to come back. And I think another key thing there is, like, have you ever called out sick? Have you ever been late?
Mhm.
Because if you have, then you've already sent that signal to your guests that that's, where we're at, and also, think about that as a human being. Like, if you've ever called out, if you've ever been sick, if life has ever happened to you, well, it's happening to everybody else that we're serving too.
That's so good. And Lindsay, I think a lot of where this stems from too, if you're scrolling social media, is you see a lot of booth renters or closet people, or when we say closet people, I mean sweet people,
Mhm,
and they don't have the marketing systems in place, so they're
mhm,
scared to death when they get 2 cancellations in 1 week because their entire livelihood depends on that. And so I think that's where we really have to have these conversations with our team too, just like you said, and to make sure that they have discernment on really truly understanding what's true for them, and to not just be scrolling Instagram, read a cancellation policy and be like, oh yeah, they have one, that means we need one too. So I think that is a really beautiful opportunity to view and look at as well, because truly, if you think of your salon like a city, you know cities have laws and consequences, but they don't plaster giant posters everywhere screaming $100 fine if you jaywalk. Whoop, I might would have $100 fine if I lived in that city a time or two. Yeah. The rules are there, yes, but like what cities promote is the culture. They promote the food, the music, the lifestyle.
mhm.
And you guys, your salon should be the same. So you got to lead with culture, not consequences.
I love that. And so here's an exercise that you could do, to really anchor this in. Write down your current cancellation policy and then ask yourself, you know, if this were the very first message a guest ever saw about your salon, what feeling would it create? Would it create excitement, safety, trust, or would it create fear, guilt, and the ick is what I like to call it,
Mhm.
Because if it's not trust and excitement, rewrite it. Think of the message that you do want to craft for them to see. What's going to open them up to already create that feeling that they want to buy things when they get in there. They want to experience that transformation. They really want to see what's truly possible for them.
Yeah. So you guys, here's the bottom line is like your cancellation policy, it exists to protect your time and your team. But when you promote it too loudly, you risk canceling the very relationships that you're actually trying to build. The key is balance. It's firm enough to prevent chaos, soft enough to build trust. And so you
Mhm.
have to ask yourself, is your cancellation policy protecting your guests or pushing them away? Because your salon is your city and your policy is just the guardrail. So let it guide, not hammer. Because
Mhm.
in the end, the real secret to salon success isn't fear, it's actually trust, vision, and relationships that shine.
Thanks for tuning in. Share this with another salon owner that you know could really get some great insights from today's episode. And we look forward to seeing you again next